Starting in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. We are live recording the next episode of the Gold Split podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with me and a good friend, Emuno. How are
What's
you
up,
doing
guys?
today?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
That's good. That's good. So, Emuno is most well known for speedrunning the game Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed for P. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking, guys. Most known for speedrunning Scooby-Doo Unmasked, which, as you know, I've talked to a lot of people who have done a different Scooby game, Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. But today we're going to talk about another really good Scooby game with a really big speedrunning scene, especially this past year in 2021. Yeah, thank you, Emuno, for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so why don't we just start from the very beginning, as we do with a lot of these interviews. Where did you start with this game when you were a kid, and what got you to speedrunning it today?
Jeez. Like the beginning. Uh,
Sure, it's fine.
so, so I first played this game. I grew up. I wouldn't say poor, but like generally poor.
Hmm.
So to get my games and stuff, I never really owned any. I'd go to a movie rental place. Not like a Blockbuster, but it's called Movie Gallery, and they used to do movies and games.
Okay.
And I believe I picked up Unmasked from Movie Gallery because I remember buying a copy actually later in life. But yeah, um,
Hmm.
I was probably something like 5 or 6
Okay.
first playing this game. It would have to be. I was born in 2002. Probably played it around 2007, 2008. Um, uh, yeah, and I didn't like it. I hated this game.
Really,
I
really.
I I straight up I liked it during Chinatown. I loved Chinatown, but as soon as I got to rock and roll theme park, whatever you want to call it,
Okay.
it I hated it.
I
Haunted
can
House
I
was
can
the
understand
bane
that.
of my existence as a child.
Really.
Um, yeah, I never beat the game
Wow.
uh, until like I probably picked it up later and finished it. I had finished it prior to speedrunning, but
Mm.
when I first played it, no way, never beat it.
Wow.
I'd probably beat a Night of 100 Fights 15 times before I beat Unmasked once.
Dang. Does that make Night of 100 Frights the objectively better game?
It, yes, because it's my favorite one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I guess we could segue into this. Um,
Dish
the
it.
only reason I am speedrunning Unmasked is because I looked up frights on the SRC page and was like, "Wow, that's a lot of people. Wow, that's a lot of tricks.
Yeah.
Let me go play this other game first." And I
Oh,
haven't made it
okay.
to frights yet. But yeah, the whole idea of me starting to joining the community and everything else was because of frights. It was
Hmm.
just once I joined the server, I was like, hmm, yeah, this whole frights thing. Let me not do that just yet. Because
Oh.
I saw you coming up. I think you were something around seventh, fifth when I joined. You were high up, but you were still like not modern day Cole.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
was probably
just
still improving and stuff.
uh but like I saw you guys on the rise and you guys knew so much more than I did and it intimidated me. So I was like, what
Oh.
about this game? What about this other game that I hate? Let's 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 find joy in breaking this one, right? Um and I think my first ever game playing in the community was probably Night of 100 Fights. Uh
Okay.
but I got the GGS and went,
Oh,
no,
yeah. Yeah.
no.
We
Um
all know about that.
yeah. I heard in your last podcast with Mortal, like that he took what, like a 6 month year hiatus from Frights because of GGS. Because he
I
couldn't
think
get it
so,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Mm.
I am still on my hiatus. I haven't been able to do GGS. That's why I'm doing
Yeah.
AMT and everything else. And then switching between NTSC and PAL. It's
Yeah, that's well, I mean, now today for those we're recording this on the 6th of September, and actually today 100 Frights just got a new world record by Nastani. So now I guess technically, well, for top times it's not going to be like switching between versions that much anymore, but yeah, GGS is definitely a trick where you know, it really kind of pushes you to kind of be a bit more committed with the game than you really think
yeah.
it'd be. But
It's a really crappy spot for the hardest trick in the game too.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's things that are equal to GGS. I feel like BKE if you didn't know the setup and stuff like that. But knowing that you're probably 5 to 10 minutes away from the end of the game and losing it all kills me every time.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I know how to do Lido with my eyes closed. I can't do GGS. You know, like I can
Yeah.
get through. I can get through there simple. I could probably put in a pretty good time. I'm not saying a top time, but pretty decent
Hmm.
for somebody who hasn't posted a run for Frights before. I ran it in Scubathon, you know, the Hepta,
Yeah.
but I haven't really made my running that very public since that. But I
Mm.
could probably do a no GGS run for the sake of it and put a time up. But
Might as well. I mean, with the Void Warp, uh, in Pier 2, you can actually beat old GGS times. Like,
really,
yeah, it's really
oh,
crazy.
no shit.
Hmm. So I think you can get top 10 with no GGS now, which is,
Really
yeah. If you just do if you do PAL Void Warp, which is like really easy in comparison,
easy.
but like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could just get top 10. So something to
But
consider
yeah,
for
I
you.
mean,
But um, so you were gonna do Frights, and you were like, no Mega Lol, and then you stumbled onto
yeah.
Unmasked.
So the crazy thing about Unmasked, right, is you might have this from research, but I don't actually remember what day I started. Like you could probably see on SRC when my first run was. I'd
Yeah,
say that was a week after I started learning. I posted that time,
that was a
I think
week.
7 days. Yeah. So I had joined the Discord about a week before that.
Okay.
Um, and let me tell you, when I joined, the top three was not the top three it is now. Um,
Yeah, it
the
wasn't.
the the current top three are all new people within since the
Mm-hmm.
time I started in my first run. Um, I think I posted what a 42 my first time.
A
I think it was
4107 with loads.
okay.
Um,
Um, yeah, so it was decent. I think I was seventh or eighth, if I remember correctly, when I started. But when I joined the Discord, everybody was like, "Oh wow, it's so amazing that you have this time within 7 days of learning this game." What people don't realize is I had the top three at the time teaching me.
oh yeah, and that
I
definitely.
had all three.
Yeah.
Baz, Coder, and Glop were teaching me the entire way through.
Mm.
So learning everything that was currently the meta of the game, which most things have remained, but there's plenty of new stuff now. Like it's like asking you, Mortal and Nastani, to teach me how to play Frights. If you gave me a week with the three of you, I could probably learn Frights pretty quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like when I posted my time, I was proud of it, but I also wasn't because
Hmm.
I was still seventh. You know, I still had my goal was to stay in fourth.
Okay.
Due to the respect of the people that taught me the game, I wanted to stay in fourth for as long as I could. And then Phantom joined. And I was like, no, no, I don't think I will. Uh, She came in and took what, third or second so quick.
Yeah.
She appeared out of nowhere. I mean, she's the one that found um Night Gate Clip and Unmasked.
Oh, in
She
medieval.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she did it by accident, and I think it was either Baz or Coder who was like, "Hey, if we just roll into the sky, we go through this gate and save like 2 minutes." And I was like, "Oh, nice." And I remember the day she posted her time, and she wasn't in the Discord. So I think the three of us all DM'd her on SRC asking her, "Hey, can you please come in here and explain
Yeah.
to us what you did?" Like, please. It's
Wow.
very remnant. Have you seen that new Metal Gear skip that was just found, like by accident?
No.
Like, I guess if you like die or get hit while entering the elevator in the first game, you skip that entire segment, like
Oh, really?
cutscene wise,
Wait, was that
and if
thing
you're at
that
the end.
like somebody was just like casually streaming the game and they found it?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah.
It kind of came up like that.
Okay.
She just posted a time and was like, "Oh, whoops, this happened," and we were like, "Yeah,
Wow.
but how do we replicate that?" You know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So once she did that, once she broke top three, I was like, game on. Did
Okay.
I beat Phantom? No. Uh, Bazbop came. I remember for a while, getting Coder out of third was the hardest thing I probably could have done.
Mm.
Once I got Coder out of third, everything just kind of came together. Um, but I feel like at that point, to get into third, you had to know the core principles of the game. You had to know every skip. You had to do every skip, if not first time, second try. And if you have second tries, probably only three in a run. Like
Mm.
Coder ran through that game pretty good. And I feel like a part of that, like I can remember beating him, but I don't think my runs were like my bosses in the run were that great. I think I beat him off of basically movement alone.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, once I got the movement down, it was a matter of playing the game over and over again. Because for the people who don't know, Unmasked sucks. Every all right, every single boss besides two. All right, half of the bosses in the game are RNG. There's cycles for the first two phases of Katargul, which is the second boss in the game, but there is no cycle for third phase. Third phase is completely RNG. That's why before, back in the day, way back in the day, about jeez, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, if we want to call that back in the
back,
day,
back in the day,
um,
3 months ago.
feels like a very long time.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Um, Katargul was the ender of runs, and Caveman was kind of like, whatever. It happens or it doesn't happen, and I either do a run or I don't.
Mm.
But we pretty much optimized Katargul to a point where phase one and phase two are generally fast every time. So as long as you can like picture where phase three is going to go, like you really have to have some forethought for that one, and that comes with playing the game 100 times,
Mm-hmm.
200 times. But um, yeah, Guitar Ghoul's like not even an issue now. Like I don't hear people complaining about Guitar Ghoul as much as I hear about people complaining about Caveman. And that's
Wow.
because currently in Unmasked running, which is why I'm not running anymore. I've put a pause on it until somebody finds the skip to skip that boss or skip the all the levels before the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Um, somebody needs to find World 3 skip for me to come back, basically.
Wow.
Because Sin beat me by 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Two, right?
That's like nothing compared to like all the other, like times in between. Like 2 seconds is so close to yours. It's ridiculous.
You have to look at the you have to look at my run and realize what I did wrong. I can tell you what I did wrong with my run. First phase of the last boss, I didn't get a single double hit. If I got a double hit on first phase with the arrows, I would still have the world record.
Mm.
Sin Dark Fates, who is current world record holder on September 6th, 2021. I might say that because Phantom's going for sub 18 right now. So
Okay.
whether she does that or not, RNG decides. But Sin didn't have good boss fights. Comparing it to mine, his boss fights were slower. Except for double hit.
Wow.
So that's why I lost it. So now I know where my time save is. But similar to GGS, my time save is on the first phase of the last boss.
Yeah.
You know, I can do 200 runs with horrible RNG and never make it to final boss. It comes to a point where I could totally do it.
Mm-hmm.
But a part of me is like, let him have it for now. There's going to be a time to save 2 more seconds. All someone needs to do is find one more glitch.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to worry about RNG as much. But putting my time in the hands of RNGesus isn't exactly what I call fun speedrunning. Which is why when I posted my world record, I was kind of like... When I posted my world record, I felt bad. Because I thought it was almost impossible to beat it. Granted, Sinbot beat me in a week. But for me, after posting it, I didn't mess up a trick. The only thing I didn't do was double hit the last phase. The first phase of the last boss. That's the only mistake I made.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were done. I thought we were optimized until somebody found a glitch. It's like... I think you guys had a similar thing when, like, Mortal set a new world record with, like, the old fishy skip. It just came to a point where it's like, if we don't find anything else, this is it. And at that point, Hedgegate was a thing. So it was like, you do that old fishy skip with Hedgegate, you get that done, who's going to beat you?
Yeah, he actually didn't do Hedgegate clip yet, just because, when you get that old fishy skip, like, you're popping off. Like, you don't want to go and do another lag. But that brings up a really good point of, like, when top runners reach these really great times and get these PBs and world record, there does come sort of this weird situation where you're like, okay, I've devoted all this time to this game and to getting to the point where I'm at now, and I know technically I can do better. Like, my sum of best is better than my PB. And I know what my mistakes are. Granted that they're so little. But you just kind of reach that point where it's like, is it really worth it? Is it really worth doing that right now? Or should I just see what happens and wait? I definitely think that's something kind of important to bring up. And I think there's no way that a top runner hasn't thought that way before. And whether a glitch or something has been found or not is just only time will tell. But
yeah,
it brings up definitely just a very interesting conflict that just speedrunners at, like, a top level can really have. But
first world problems, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Everybody that's like mid-tier of our boards is like, oh yeah, lucky for you. It
definitely feels, but it's just when you've put so much time and, like, so much, like, I guess, passion into what you're doing, and, like, you've glitch hunted a bunch of other things, or you've ran this category like 1,000 times, like, it hits different. It really does hit different. And even though And I think this is a problem. This could be a problem for you. This is definitely a problem for me when I'm, speed running and stuff like that. When like people beat me in like a couple seconds, uh, you know, they're like it's just like a couple seconds. Like it's not that big of a margin. But sometimes when you've grinded that much, I don't really think this way as much anymore. But when you've grinded that much, you kind of be like, listen, buddy, like, do you realize how long a second is? Like, a second is like when you're speedrunning and you are just in the moment, like, a second feels like eternity. Like, if you get a second time loss when you're at that kind of level, you feel like, what's that movie? The Matrix. Oh my God. You feel like the Matrix where everything's like slowed down and you've just like halted, even though like all you
Yeah.
did was like jump one extra time and wasted a second. It's like, whoa. It just gets so intense up at that level when you've just put so much time into it.
It's very weird because my sub 20 runs feel like 45-minute runs every time.
It does. I know what you mean.
The, like I've been running through. Not I haven't recorded myself because I have extra stress on having Live Split open and looking at it, and I'm like,
Hmm.
hey, let's not do that. I don't care if I run this game for 30. I just need to go through this route to remain not rusty.
Hmm.
Um, like even then, I'm like, why'd you do that? Why'd you jump there? I'm always criticizing myself because it's like, like this was you at your best, and this
Hmm.
guy just came in and was like, "How about 2 more seconds?" And yes, it's fun. Yes, it's competitive. Yes, I do want to run this game again. And I know that there's this new thing in medieval that might save me 2 seconds, and I might be fine. But also, like, just imagine if every single fights boss was like Black Knight and Green Ghost.
Mm. Yeah.
Like there's no like there might be. I'm not that smart when it comes to fights, but there's not a manip for Green Ghost. Like you can
No.
get double hit in the middle, but like that is completely RNG.
Hmm.
That's how Caveman is. And
Yeah.
I think when I posted my time, I got a 6 or 7 laser. You know how unoften a 6 or a 7 laser in
That's.
Caveman
I
phase
know that's
is?
really
It's
rare.
never gonna happen again. So I've been like, I think I asked somebody to do this, like put me and Sin's run side to side so I can look at it, but that never came up and that never
Hmm.
happened. I haven't compared like to see where he got it on me, but I can imagine it's first phase, last fight with a double hit.
Mm. Mm.
Um, but yeah, when I set my world record, which was the best feeling of my life, but also the worst feeling of my life, because I know for a lot of speedrunners, it's like, oh yeah, I set the world record in here. Let me go to another category. Let me go to a different game and, wait for me to be beaten.
Hmm.
Um, I I couldn't do that. Like yeah, I could go to all
Hmm.
levels, I could go to Hundo. But the the thing with me going into all levels in Hundo, you can see that I have an all levels time. I have I think fifth. Is it fifth or seventh?
It is sixth place.
Sixth place?
42-18 without loads.
Which is impressive. Not impressive currently, but it's something. Um it's like me running any percent, right? And having these specific fail points. I'm not going to fail in the levels of anything. I'm going to fail in the bosses, right?
Mm.
So all levels for me is just an extended any percent. Like I'm not going to mess up in the levels, but I have to now waste 15 minutes trying to get the dragon where I could lose it.
Hmm.
I have to waste 30, well, not 30, it'd probably be like 20, 25 going into Guitar Goal, and then have to continue any percent from Museum because it's the same route.
Mm.
Um, In Hundo, give me a break. There's so much Mubber collection that I just don't want to get
That's.
into. It's
I was gonna ask you if you were ever interested in Hundo, and I was assuming no.
I've looked into it. I've written down like a sheet where it's like, oh, in this level you need this much Mubber to get, you know, this one snack, and you need to grind here and here. And
Hmm.
no,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna run a speed run, I'm gonna run any percent because it's the fastest you can go, unless you're in fights and you have cheat percent
Mm.
or creepy early. You know,
Yeah.
but
Like something
it's still
consoles.
any. Yeah,
Yeah, it's still any percent. So just out of curiosity, just over what we've been talking about so far,
sure.
uh, do you often compare yourself to other runners? Very like, I'm I guess I'm
Yeah.
lacking the word for it, but like, you really scrutinize your runs, and you're really like, really just focused on comparing any percent times and stuff like that.
So when it comes to being on top, like I didn't do this in when I first started. I didn't do this when I was in fourth. It didn't matter to me.
Hmm.
But when you're in top three and there's a very small margin of error, you need to know where you messed up.
Mm.
Um, One, because I'm not perfect and I don't know every trick. Is rolling over this platform faster than jumping on it? I don't know. But, Sin might have rolled on this platform instead of me jumping on it, and that could be the difference of 2 seconds. I remember, like, the way I learned how to do dragon. In my world record, I basically have a perfect dragon. Basically, I mean,
Okay.
Phantom's the queen of dragon. She she knows the rotation. She knows the everything. But to learn that route, I watched Phantom's video probably 20, 25 times.
Okay.
You know, um, Comparing her speed to mine, what does this actually save me in the long run? Right? If I do it the fastest we know, like I sometimes will go to ILs, but it's very few and far between. I usually go to
Hmm.
runs because ILs seem to be unreasonable to be like, oh yeah, let's take the best of every single area, edit them together, and then be like, oh yeah, you just suck, right?
Mm.
But yeah, it's I scrutinize myself so much,
Hmm.
um, and I think that's one of the reasons why I can't get into fights. Is because there's a lot of other people. There's like I feel like every single group of five on that leaderboard is just another section, you know.
Hmm.
Because I know I have the capabilities of being top five on fights. Like if I was like, screw Unmasked right now, I'm gonna play fights for the next 2 years. Sure, I can be top five on fights, but like when you guys all moved up in fights, there was things being found. I mean, there's still things being found. You just said there today, but
Hmm.
like using your forethinking, how much more do you think there possibly is in fights?
Ooh, I mean, RTA viable is really sort of the barrier we're pushing now with a lot of this stuff. Like that's really what it's like. That I mean, it's the same with Unmasked too, with like World Three
Yeah,
Skip. Like it's all kind of just pushing. Like we need to start doing things that we've only imagined in like a task, or
yeah,
you know, there's just so much potential for it. But
yeah. I mean, hedge early.
yeah, that's something that's only tasks, and if we can get that RTA, that'd be a humongous time save. It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, but
So.
here's the problem: nobody's been able to task World Three Skip yet.
Oh
They don't
yeah.
even know where to
Mm.
begin. Like it's like building a puzzle and not having any pieces.
So how does because I know that you recorded World 3 Skip being done. So like how do you think it all really like works out?
Here's my theory, right?
Okay.
It's very possible that on that save file, I did what we call Chinatown glitch, um, where you access the menu in the cutscene of Chinatown, and it just screws up your game. Specifically, it screws up the RAM. So
Okay.
certain things in the RAM won't change, right?
Hmm.
I think from there, I might have loaded on or played through to Caveman. In some,
Okay.
I know I didn't RAM hack that door open.
Hmm.
Is it possible? I'm not going to say it's impossible because I'm dull sometimes and I forget. But in my heart and in my head, I know I didn't. Um, you got me thinking, Cole, because this has been a very long run of things of just
Yeah.
I got that door open. You know, it's how do you now get the door open again?
Yeah, you've done it once, and then you're just like, well, how did I do that? Like,
Yeah,
what?
it's
Yeah.
and I told everybody, oh man, I think it's like ejecting your memory card while you quit out a caveman or something, and then going to another save while your memory card's still out, and then plugging it back in. But that would have nothing to do with it. It's nothing to do
Hmm.
with RAM. You know, like
Yeah.
that trigger has to turn from 00 to 01, and the memory card isn't going to do that.
Mm.
It's not going to be like, oh yeah, we confused the saves.
Hmm.
Wait a
Well,
second.
you guys do something like that already, right? With entering medieval, I think. There's something
Um,
that when I was learning the route
yes,
myself.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. What
So
is that specifically?
you have to run to medieval on a different save and shoot the shield up. And there's I think that was trigger was copy and pasted in because there isn't a code to change it back to 00. So once you
Oh,
have the
okay.
shield shot up, you can quit the game, and then at that menu, that trigger is still 01. So when you
Hmm.
load back into medieval, well, load back into museum and your new run, the shield is up because the trigger is on.
Okay.
But the problem with World 3 skip with the door is it's not kind of one of those addition things. I feel like that was probably one of the first things they did. Like, hey guys, we need this door to open because if it doesn't, then we're not going to get to the boss. You know,
Hmm.
like if
Yeah.
there's anything to do, it's boss doors first, right? If I was approaching this game as a game designer, I'd be like, all right, well, we need to focus on the level doors now because we can't make the levels without the level doors. Well, you can, but you know, um, I mean, Coder thinks that there was two extra levels in each world. You know,
Hmm.
looking at files, it does say so. It looks like it.
Hmm.
But you just made me think of something.
Did I really?
Yeah, I'm gonna make this first on record, so whoever watches this to this point, you can like flash it at the beginning, like, hey, watch until this point for big brain moments.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
um,
I'll remember to do that, I hope.
but what if we had a memory card, right? That was formatted the same as a separate memory card, but in a different slot, we took that memory card out that had Caveman open, and then put in one that didn't in the same save slot.
Oh, so you like flip it.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
possible that that switching, especially in Caveman, where the saves are completely different, might change something. Maybe even in only in Chinatown glitch, but we haven't ever tried using a different memory card.
Hmm.
It's like putting ketchup on your disc, to be quite honest with you. Like it shouldn't work, but it does. You know?
Yeah, that we have something. Me and Mortal have talked about this similarly with Frights, where you know how there's like 1.1 disc and then 1.0.
Yeah.
We want to know what happens because there was a time where Mortal, I think, took out his NTSC disc and put in his PAL disc in the level Hedge 1. And if you wait for the music cycle to, like, because music just happens in a cycle in a video game, you know?
Yeah.
When that, like, when the soundtrack technically stops, it starts playing, I think, like, the main theme, or, like, Mystery Machine 1 if you switch out the disc. So we want to know what else you can do with the, like, just NTSC 1.1, 1.0. But I don't want to purchase another disc. So,
Oh, I feel you.
But yeah, so
Crazy.
that'd be cool. You should test that memory card thing out. It might work.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
I'll look into that once I hang up.
yeah, I'll
The weird thing is there's actually 2 different versions of the Unmasked disc.
Oh, is there really?
It's not a 1.0 or a 1.1, but I think there's 2 different productions of it. Because I have 2 discs, and they say separate things in the bottom. Like, they say different things, besides, like the production number. But if you put 2 Frights discs next to each other, everything's the same, if it's 1.1 or 1.0. There's just something, I forget exactly what it is. But yeah, 2 of my GameCube Unmasked discs are completely different. I haven't been able to try it because I don't exactly have a GameCube. Like, I can set up my Wii, but like, it's possible. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's probably a hot patch. It's probably a hot fix. There's got to be something that was broken in one version that was fixed in another, and that could be as simple as just math, physics. If it's physics based, then we've got a home run. But currently, I mean, most of our runners are currently running emulator. I know me and Sin both run emulator. I can probably confirm to you that both of us use the same ROM. Stay hush about that, because how are we running the same ROM if we both ripped our own from our games? But the thing with that is we don't know what version of the disc our ROM is from.
Ooh.
Like,
okay.
Right? We don't know. Like, in Frights, you do, because on the emulator you can jump to the bag in the middle, which is 1.0, right? Or is that 1.1?
Yep, that's 1.0. Where you just jump on the invisible
Yeah,
bag.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell from there. And I'm not sure if you can tell anywhere else, like in properties or whatever. But Unmasked doesn't have a version-specific trick to be like, oh, is this version or this version? I mean, if you can't do the skip in MFM in the beginning, you're probably on an Xbox. Sorry. I mean, you probably could have just looked down and saw that you were using an Xbox, but yeah, it's, I don't know. With Unmasked, we've kind of hit a wall. And I feel like everybody's just kind of like spreading away from it. And I know it's going to take somebody like what I did. Probably, 8 months now? 8 months ago? It's going to take somebody just being like, oh man, I wonder how fast they play this game now. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh, jeez, how do they do that? It could be any Scooby game. I mean, besides probably Mystery Mayhem, because that game's like an hour long. But,
That's basically a glitchless run.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Oh my god.
But, like, it takes one person to be like, oh, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people, I know for a while, going between Frights and Unmasked. Just because Frights kind of hit a wall, and I felt like Unmasked was just something to do until that wall was ultimately broken. Because you guys aren't...
Wait, we aren't what? I'm so sorry.
You guys are insane, like, with your glitch hunting stuff. Like, you guys...
Well, yeah, that's pretty much Mortal, and I would say maybe like Sam. I've dipped my toe into it a little bit now in this past year, but yeah, me and Mortal have talked about that same thing too, where it's like when I mean, I still would argue that we're still kind of hitting walls, but now it's like we're past one wall, then there's another one right after it.
Yeah.
But me and Mortal have talked about too, like, we would just love to see some new people, different people thinking, having more people just understand as much as, at least as like me, but like if somebody understood as much as Mortal did, oh my god.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, that's why I was doing those marathons or trying to do them.
Hmm.
Uh, just trying to get more people interested. But in the end, me doing them doesn't help because I'm not very entertaining. I jump on a game and I'm like, all right, let's criticize myself as I play. You know,
Yeah, it
oh
it can
man,
get
you
pretty.
you messed that one up.
Yeah.
Sorry. You know.
But yeah, that's like why I'm doing like this podcast, and I've been really focused on my YouTube lately, just because I want to kind of get more people introduced to me, and then I'll introduce more people into the game. And I've been thinking about doing marathon stuff too. So but hopefully people who are watching this podcast, I'll obviously leave links in the description for joining the Unmasked community and anything else. Like, who knows? You could be the next person in the Summoning Salt Unmasked video.
You would be the next unfortunate person to have world record.
The next one. Dang.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I've told people before, like I think I've told Baz this, like if anybody DMs me and it's like, hey, can you like show me through on Mass Speedrun? I'm dropping everything. Well, unless it's schoolwork now because I'm in college right now. But
Yeah.
if I'm playing like Forza over here and somebody's like, hey, how do you do this? I'm gonna be like, all right, we'll close Forza and I'll jump in the Discord and
That's
let's
awesome
show this
though.
person how to do this. It's just nobody ever DMs me or adds me in chat, which I think is the lack of people trying to learn.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Also, you watch my world record and you're like, yeah, he doesn't set this up the same way I want to. If you want to learn how to run Unmasked, don't watch the second place run. I'm saying this right now. You can make that the title of this podcast. If you want to learn Unmasked, don't watch my run. Because there's so many things that I just kind of went, oh, I know this. I can do this blindfolded. Let me do this at a different
Hmm.
angle than what you're supposed to. Maybe this will be faster, which it was, but not now.
Yeah.
But like, I did sign jump backwards. I remember
I can't even imagine doing that jump backwards. Holy crap.
I like when I learned, I watched Glop because Glop did everything like point to point.
Hmm.
Do this exactly how it is. Just fast, but do it how it is. My ass was like, all right, well, I'm gonna look directly at the sign and jump into a place I can't see.
That's crazy. That
Oh,
sign
like,
is so slippery and stuff too. Oh
oh
my
my god! Like
gosh.
once you know what you're aiming for, you'll get it 95% of the time.
Hmm.
But when I first learned that, I was there for like 3 hours. Like, how do I get the sign? And I think that's kind of why, like, I know how to do it now because I was just kind
Yeah.
of like
Hmm.
that pixel right there, that one, right there. It's the only pixel. That's that one. you know?
Don't step on that other. What are you doing? Step on
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Mass is like that though. Like Frights is, I'd say, the harder run, but I'd say Unmasked is probably the more technical run. Remove probably GGS and I mean old fishy skip. I think at that point in the process of Frights, you guys are probably more technical than Unmasked.
I think it. I
But
think it really just. I think it's just has its pros and cons. Really, like I feel like you guys are kind of doing different things than us. Like I feel like both of our
yeah,
games are
it's
technical in our own way, and
well, I'm not saying like one's better than the other because I've already said I
well,
like Frights better.
well, I meant like the just like speedrunning difficulty wise. I mean, it's actually kind of crazy to think about how both of our games are basically around the same time. If we're ignoring creepy early for frights, like we're
Yeah,
both like
yeah,
in sub 20 territory. It's pretty ridiculous how both of our games sort of have popped off in just the last year, really.
yeah. I mean,
But
I think you can try to look at. I think Glop's run is current. I don't think he's updated it. That was world record 8 months ago, or whenever he posted it. That was world record.
His time without loads, 2015.
Was it 2015?
8 months ago.
Yeah. So sub 20 wasn't even a thing 8 months ago. We were sitting at 24, 25.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah,
guys are
Loft
sub
was a
19
minute and a half.
now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Am I around 17? Jesus. But yeah, it's crazy how fast that goes. I remember 8 months ago, probably you guys were still sitting in at like 22. I remember 22 was the big push for a while.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it was more so 21 really. Like 22 when Old Fishy Skip was found. Like 22 was
Yeah.
just like basically skipped it, but yeah. That's that's a speedrun evolving, and I think I've definitely learned like this past year that I've been speedrunning and doing this stuff is, you want to evolve the speedrun. That's what the whole community is meant for. You want to get the lowest possible time and everybody working together to accomplish it. And out of all the work that people put together, there's going to be the one person who does it the fastest at the given time. But like with a gas drought and then with like Old Fishy Skip with frights, I really, and probably Mortal 2 would agree with me, that we really kind of learned like, wow, this really does have kind of consequences in a way of like finding new things or like getting to different milestones. Like, the dream is to like have your game be the best it can be, but the consequence of that could be the community activity or, forming like that wall you were talking about where everybody kind of just walks away from it, and we need new people to kind of come in and, knock that wall down. But it's a very interesting tug of war.
I think you guys probably built the biggest wall when Hedgegate Clip wasn't banned. It came to a point where, like,
that was a pretty big wall for sure.
The wall wasn't unbreakable because all you had to do was learn that clip. But also on the other side of things, you had to learn that clip.
Mm-hmm.
And when only 2 runners, I believe it was only 2, right?
Yeah, those Nastani and Mortal were the only 2 to actually like do it in runs. But Baz did it for a little bit. But by that time he was more focused on like Pokepark, Xenoblade Unmasked.
Yeah.
So
just like, when you have, how many people are on your leaderboard? 50, 57? On the Frights leaderboard? Is it in the 60s now? I know there's been some new people.
There's almost 80 people on the leaderboards now.
Really?
That's crazy, actually. Yeah, it's 79.
Well, think about it like this. What is it? 1/40th of the amount of players that you have on your leaderboard can do a Hedgegate Clip in a run.
Yeah.
It's a wall.
It really is.
And that's kind of why, like, I was involved in that Hedgegate Clip voting without really knowing anything about it. Like, I got in because I ran the Hepta.
Mm-hmm.
But when I voted for that, it was a matter of how big is this wall, and how active is the community going to be if we keep this up?
Mm.
Like I'm not sure. Like, can you do Hedge Clip on emulator? Like, is that a thing?
Well, so that's the thing. Emulator is only doable, or oh my god, Hedgegate Clip is only doable on NTSC GameCube. On emulator, it's free. Okay. For some reason, it just like lags way more and stuff. So, when when EmuCap was lifted for our game, you couldn't do a lag clip on there. That was sort of the gimmick. Yeah. Yeah, it's a console NTSC GameCube exclusive. So,
you see, we don't have those in Unmasked. We have tricks that you can't do on Xbox. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do them on Xbox, but good luck. You're gonna have a fun time. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Baz had number 2 for a while with Xbox, so I'm not trying to deter anybody. If you have an Xbox version of Unmasked, go ahead, try.
You can still do it. Yeah, might as well. I remember. I think. Well, when I started running just Frights, I knew that Bez had world record in Unmasked, and then I think about a month after I joined, which sounds about right considering the time period. Or no, it was like 2 months. That's when Glop got his world record, and everybody was like, "Whoa, wow, that's crazy! Like that came out of nowhere."
I bet you the three of us came out of nowhere too, because those people aren't in the top 3 anymore.
Yeah, I mean, what? Let me look. What place are they even in now? They're still in top 5,
Baz
but
is in
yeah,
4th, right?
Baz is in 4th, Glop is in 5th, and then Coder's in 6th.
So me and Coder switch spots.
It's pretty crazy.
That's what 8 months does. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the person who taught me is now. I haven't talked to him in a while. He's great at the game. Like, there's nothing saying that he can't get up there and beat me, because he can. He knows way more about this game than I do. But we started finding new things. That's what 3 people can do. We're like, hey, what if we roll into this gate and just clip right through?
Oh, look. It worked.
Oh, hey, look at that. We saved a minute and a half, you know, like. Hey, what if we run through aquarium without the suit? That's not possible. We can't get on top of the boat. Here comes Sin, like, I found a way on top of the boat. It's like,
that's actually really, that's when I was being taught by Harsh the route, I thought that was like the most fun part. It was really hard, but I thought it was really fun.
Yeah. It sucks because it's so late in Museum.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
it's like
you're
second to last level. Or,
you're probably at the 15-minute mark by the time you hit aquarium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just wasted 15 minutes of your life if you don't get that jump to the clue.
But at least 15 minutes, because then you have all those, like, you know.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning isn't what's the trick called in Chinatown with Shaggy? That's how you get to
Shaggy launch. Yeah.
Shaggy launch. Yeah. So like that, at least 15 minutes of your life wasted. But
so it's like, it's cool, right? It's nice that we found these new things. But every time we find a new thing, the run gets harder.
Yeah.
Or easier, depending. Like, I found this one thing for all levels, which I know I don't run all levels, but there used to be a skip in Temple where people still do it because my skip isn't exactly explained yet. But you used to have to go on a tree that was going to, like, fall and drop you through, and, like, jump on a hook real quick and, like, jump onto the platform and, like, jump your way up.
Okay.
But I found this rollable collision, like, on a step on the platform up to the tree where you can, like, roll up and go back and jump up faster. It is faster, but people who know that first skip and have mastered that one are probably going to still go with that one instead of learning this new one.
Yeah.
But I think my all levels time, because I do have one. I have a 6th place, which I don't want any more than that. I'm good with a 42.
Yep.
It could be a 72. I'd be okay.
72 minutes.
I don't care. Oh, speaking of which,
Yeah.
I looked at the longest battle for Bikini Bottom time in last.
Probably like, oh my god, it's probably like multiple hours, probably.
24 hours.
I'm honestly not surprised.
It's the bottom time. I was like, I wonder how long it took the slowest person. And I was like, man, that's dedication right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you go to I don't know if anybody's told you in Night of 100 Frights, I think it's an obsoleted runs. You can go down to the very bottom of the leaderboard, and I'll check real quick, actually. Wow, there's a lot of people that submitted runs. Here you go. It's not as grand as 24 hours, but WPC did an 11-hour run of the game. And now there's a meme category. Any percent, yep. 11 hours. It was 5 years ago now. But there's a meme category now called WPC percent, where we basically just do every fuck up that he did in the round. It's a meme category. I think Farah made it, who is like a veteran runner. But
oh no shit.
But yeah, not 24 hours. Holy, oh my god.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? I don't even think it took me that long to beat the game casually. At least grown up, but.
Was Jolly Immortal's endurance mode for Redbeard 3 hours long? They do that for 3 hours?
No, it's like 6.
No shit.
Well, so all right, here if you want the lore of Redbeard Endurance Mode is when I started running this game, there were three people who have ran the game there or have run that category. It was Farah, Somerset, and Harsh. And Farah was the world record holder with 4 hours. And so one day, it was actually almost a year ago now, me and Mortal were like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we did this, but we got the world record to be exactly 4 hours and 20 minutes? Because for the memes.
Yeah.
And so me and Mortal, so then like the idea is that world record would be tied and you'd just see a bunch of 420s. And so me and Mortal did it. We both, I think Mortal just recorded it because it was late at night, but I streamed it. Mortal's controller died in the middle of it, so he had to quit. But I ended up getting that world record. But the next day, a guy who I will remain anonymous since allegations of him doing very inappropriate things to either just minority or not underage people, we'll say. He beat my time and he ruined it. He ruined the meme. He got 5 hours and 22 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck? And then Mortal
Not
was
even
like,
a good meme.
I know, and that I was like, "What the heck, man?" And he was also saying like, "I just did it because I felt like it. Like I didn't even know these other people were doing anything." And I was like, "Yeah, fuck you." So, Mortal decided to get I guess vengeance, and he beat his time by like 4 minutes, like something really infuriating. And then he beat him again by 20 minutes, so it's 5 hours and 20 minutes. And then eventually him and Jolly got 6 hours even. So that I started a kick with people wasting their lives away. But
speaking of which, though, possible new category extension for Frights now.
yeah, that you've helped
Baz
me.
has run it.
Yeah, and he seems to really enjoy it too. Which
I really enjoy it. Yeah.
what's
really
your time on there? Because I know Baz, I think was a 40. Let me look, because I know it's like a minute ahead of like actual just normal AMT world record.
I'll be honest.
I don't remember.
I've run through it untimed.
Okay.
If I'm gonna give an approximation to you, 38.
Okay. I think he got a 38 too. So, but yeah,
something around there. But it can definitely be optimized. I feel like there's a lot better routing because with all power ups, you can go into anything first.
Do you have all warp gates too?
We didn't enable all warp gates or pause storage. Pause storage and warp gate usage is enabled, but you won't need them. But not many anyway.
Okay.
But like, if you did all warp gates and pause storage, it's gonna go fast, right? The matter of like, oh man, I don't have to run through Fishy 1 and 2. I can just run through Fishy backwards and then warp out at here. It's like, whatever. You know, it would be one of those like categories where it's like somewhat taken seriously, but somewhat like pause storage %. You know, like cool.
Yeah.
I have to do pause storage 15 times in a run.
Margaret Thatcher, woo! I helped make that category.
But yeah, me and Baz kind of came to the executive decision where it was like, let's not do pause storage, let's not do warp gate cheat code. Let's just do the power ups. So you have double jump, so you can get the hedge first. And then you have the helmet to get werewolf token without having to go through Skullcliff. You don't have to even touch Skullcliff. It's the game ever. Nope. No Skullcliff.
Nope. You don't have to do anything in there. What a
you have to go through Fishy. That's the only problem because you have our monster at the beginning, and then Captain Cutler, and what, third, fourth for Fishy 4.
Yeah. Fishy 4 has the Ghost Diver, so yeah.
I hate when you guys call it Ghost Diver.
Is it not the Ghost Diver?
It's Captain Cutler.
Is it really? I'm gonna look this up now.
I'm not sure if it's what it's called in the game,
In the
but
game,
in
it's for sure Ghost Diver. But...
in Scooby-Doo, like in the show, it's Captain Cutler. It's a ghost of Captain Cutler.
Okay, that's a 1950s movie. So why don't they call it that in the game? That's so weird.
Um,
The Ghost
I
of
don't know.
Captain Cutler. Wow. Why do we call it the Ghost Diver?
Somebody probably was coding that game and was like, "What is he called again? I don't really want to watch episode 4 of Scooby-Doo all over again. What was he called? Oh, he's just the Ghost Diver." They even call him Captain Cutler in Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed.
Huh.
That's why, like, I think in my splits for AMT, I've renamed Ghost Diver to Captain Color. I'm like,
Good for
I'm
you.
not calling him
Yeah,
that.
sure. That's really funny. Wow, even the wikis got him wrong. They say, oh, maybe it says here that he just looks identical to the Ghost of Captain Cutler, but he's called the Ghost Diver, which is kind of weird. But I don't know.
Good cover up, Wikipedia.
Yeah. We know the real truth. Stop.
Yeah.
My God. I did not know that. But anyway, yes,
Hashtag
that
free
monster
Captain
token.
Cutler.
Oh my God, dude.
Dude, like, yeah, AMT's fun. Once I found out how to do BKE pretty early,
Mm-hmm.
it was great. And then I was kind of like, I don't really want to go through Skullclef anymore because I can't do the Void Warp.
Yeah, Void Warp's...
Here,
Yeah.
here comes me doing the cheat code, and being like, oh wait, I can do everything early except probably Manor because you don't have enough snacks to get through Manor, so you have to do either Fishy or Hedge first.
Probably do Hedge.
I,
But...
I would do Hedge first too. I do Hedge, Manor, then Fishy. Mainly because you would end off there with well, it'll be Redbeard token last. Because you wouldn't go to Lighthouse, you would just go straight to Wreck.
Oh, yeah. Because, yeah. You could just
So,
jump across. Or, well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. So. Huh.
So yeah, that's it's really cool because you don't have to go to like Helmet or
You don't even go there for, like, snacks or anything?
no, I never did.
That's crazy.
And I wasn't even stingy with snacks. It was just kind of like, I think overall you have 900 in Fishy that you need to do, plus the 850 snack gate, plus the 200 snap gate in Mansion. I think it's 200.
You know what will really mess up that category?
Pause storage.
Creepy early. If you're going to ban pause storage from it.
Ooh. Yeah, that would
because you'd get rid of like Coast. Well, I mean, you'd still have to go through Coast, but like you don't have to pay the snack gate and all that's jazz. So
that'd be crazy. Yeah, I've been waiting
Yep.
for the page to come up on speedrunner.com because Baz ran it. I've just been waiting for the category extension to be added. But
okay, I was gonna ask if like when you were gonna submit your run or if you were gonna get a better time or something like that.
I mean, like, I've been going for recorded runs of it, but I always get like interrupted by somebody, and then I look
Oh.
away for a second, and next thing you know, I'm in a pit, and I'm like, all right, well, it's not time to run this game right now, I suppose.
Yeah.
But you know, it's something I want to do. It's my next
Mhm.
project because Unmasked is not something that I'm doing right now.
So it's not next project isn't gonna be Scooby-Doo. No, Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed.
I ran that game honestly. One, because Deathmaster taught it to me, and it would be disrespectful, in my opinion, to not post a run when somebody taught it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I wanted a sub 20 in another Scooby-Doo game. And third of all, I wanted the role in the Discord. That's it.
Wait, there's a role for
Scooby-Doo 2,
Scooby-Doo 2?
Monsters Unleashed, yeah.
Where's my Who's Watching Who role, bro? I've speedrun Who's Watching Who. I need to ask Sam about that.
You're gonna have to talk to somebody else, man.
Isn't it funny?
I can't do.
Isn't it funny how roles kind of work like that? That's like how I feel about roles. I feel like they're like merit badges or whatever for like scouts or whatever, where
Yeah.
it's like, or like those like generals that have like all those medals like on their jackets. I'm just like, look at me, I'm multiplayer games. Look at me, multiplayer. Look, yeah, there you go.
I've actually I've considered being that guy, and after doing a run for frights, jumping over to like Spooky Swamp at first frights. Like, do one IL, do level 1 in both the games, and then never touch it again.
Yeah, it's
And be like, yeah, I got the badge, so I'll see you later. You know, like,
yeah. It definitely that kind of can subtract from the value of it in a way, but
yeah.
nobody's gonna know. They're gonna look and they're gonna be like, "Wow,
Wow,
he
this
has
man
so
runs a
much."
lot.
You
Yeah.
know who has a lot of badges is Ryan, and like honestly anybody
Really?
who's been here for super long, like Ryan and Baz and Summer. Oh my gosh, they look like those generals. They're standing up in the balcony being like,
Yeah.
I look down on you for my pleasure. Like, it's quite ridiculous. I think there's also a role called Baz, which was meant for when his younger brother like took his account or whatever.
Hmm.
They would like mute him from the community because his brother, B&B. Oh my god,
Yeah.
like the roles go back. A lot of secret channels in this Discord too. I only know one of them, but yeah, a lot of hidden stuff that we don't see. But
I like the Discord is rough for me, right?
mm,
Because on one end, it's where I can talk to the people I like to talk to when it comes to games. On the other end, it's where stuff goes down.
yes,
You know, it's like, are you a fan of Hamilton?
I know
Like,
of
have
the
you listened to
musical.
Hamilton?
I know.
So
I haven't listened. I've listened to it
there,
actually, but
there's a song in the musical called "The Room Where It Happens," and it's Aaron Burr singing about how he wants to be like one of the people that makes the decisions.
mm-hmm.
It's kind of how I feel with the Discord. Like, there's a part where like, there's a part of me where it's like, hey, Noah, slow down. You are acting like the Minecraft kid that jumps into Minecraft server, like, admin me, please.
Who's
But the other
Noah?
part of me is me.
Oh, I didn't
My
know that
name,
was your real name.
my name, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was your real name. God, I've
Yeah.
researched all this about you and I didn't even know your real name. Anyway,
Um,
that's
so
embarrassing. Ooh.
like it's like a part of me is like, hey, slow down. You haven't put in your time yet. And the other part of me is like, yeah, but I could do this. Like, I know I could add this in. And there's things that I feel like I could do that other people wouldn't support, you know? So that's where, like, if I think you followed where I just kind of like dipped for a while and just kind of, it was kind of one of those things of self-reflection where it was
Mm-hmm.
like, were you kind of a dick in that situation?
Yeah, I
Or
know
were
what you
you
mean.
right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and in the end, I cared more about the people in the community than me changing what has already been applied. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
was there drama? Not really. I just kind of left. I had more internal drama about leaving than everybody else did after I left. You know, like,
Yeah.
that's when I realized, like, I've got to stop, like, pressuring myself onto situations. You know, and that's just kind of, that's where I come from there. I didn't really want to get too much into that, but it's kind of a philosophy as well when it comes to just speedrunning. Like, yeah, I have nothing else to do in a max. What could I do? Verify runs. Are there any new people? No. You know, do they need
Mm-hmm.
somebody? No, they don't. You know, would I
Yeah.
like to be able to add category extensions that other people are either forget about adding or too lazy to add? But I'm not calling anybody out, but it's just like, Unmasked doesn't have a category extension board. we've come up with stuff. It might not be the funnest extension board ever in the world, but it's something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like do movie lover percent. Nobody cares. Coder said it forever. He's like, this game has the best story of all the Scooby-Doo games, and I'm like, I don't know. Night of 100 Fights is pretty good, but like movie lover percent or
Mm-hmm.
like if you didn't know, we have to collect the costume upgrade tokens in 100%.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
those tokens don't count towards the percentage at all. You could go through the entire game and not pick up the
Oh,
tokens and still get 100 at the end.
that seems like more of a
I was,
max percent thing.
that's what we said. And I was
Okay.
like, why don't we add a max percent then? And it never happened. So it's like, I'm sitting here like, hey, why don't you like give me some of these bennies so I can make this percentage board? And it went nowhere. It went nowhere because I'm
Yeah.
not ready yet, and I
Mm-hmm.
got butthurt about it, and I apologize to anybody that I might have offended through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've definitely had stuff like that with frights too. I mean, we just had this whole about 2 months ago now, a month ago. I mean, I don't know if you really paid attention to like there's like a whole schism between the runners and the mods. Um,
yeah. I mean, that's
but
where my thing started too.
yeah,
I kind of jumped on the caboose of that train.
hmm it was like I personally didn't have just the intention of like being a mod or like having that kind of role, but like the same thing sort of applies, and I think this just happens when like we're new, we're fresh, we want to just keep doing stuff, you know we're like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that, we're really into it, but like a lot of the mods and stuff like have other things going on in their lives, and they can't just be here just following everything that we do, since basically I would argue frights has just been my life for the past like half year, basically, in the full year that I've been speedrunning. um and I just want I feel like that's probably just something that happens when your game is growing and people are becoming really active with it, is just like you kind of get impatient with it, and then the mods are like, well, why just wait, and then the schism kind of forms. And as unfortunate as that is on both sides, it's it just kind of happens. But I think with you in general, I think it's pretty mature of you to kind of be like, you know, I wasn't ready for it yet. I apologize for anything that I ever said, and the fact that you're kind of like, it definitely just shows maturity and you kind of like growing and moving on to be a better person. So
In the end, what matters is the speed run.
yeah.
Everything else is just an addition, right? And if we want to get even deeper than that, it's the people in the speedrunning community that matter more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when somebody disappears, it's so different. It's so like, wait, where'd they go? Because you talk to these people. I'm not gonna say every day, because I'm kind of like one of those every other day type of people, where I'm like, oh yeah, what's going on here? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let me jump and chat, right? But um, like you know these people more than you know some people that you've just seen like at school. Like you have
Yeah.
peers, but um, like you and Mortal, like you guys are super close. But in reality, you aren't as close as like you and one of your peers at school, like physically close.
Yeah.
And
It's pretty crazy to think about.
it's really awesome. It's just how like our generation is very different than the last. Like, let me be honest, nobody had their little like beeper thing coming off from the UK, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's my friend from the UK." Probably like a handful of people had a pager that was beeping from the UK, and they were like, "Oh man, this is a collect call."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Just, it's pretty crazy.
it's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the fact that we get to, I know speedrunning was a thing way back in the day, like, since all these games have come out, it's like who can run this the fastest, and
Mm-hmm.
uh but like we have SRC now. It's
Mm-hmm.
so easy to get into a community. All you got to do is be like Scooby-Doo Unmasked. It's like, oh, here's the Discord link, and you're like, hey, what's up,
Yeah.
guys? You know,
Yeah,
like
we've come a long way for sure.
I'm in 4 different speedrunning communities right now. How many games have I run in those communities? 0, but I'm there if I want to talk.
Yeah.
You know, and like some of these games, it's like I join them and I'm like, oh, you need to like modify physical hardware in order to get a good run. Cool. All right, well, this is going to be a later project, and I just
Mm-hmm.
stay there. And there's some things like SpongeBob where I'm like, oh man, this community is kind of full, and I kind of don't want to, but I'm going to stay here anyway because it's kind of cool,
Yeah, why not?
you know? But yeah, I'm not going to say like, don't join a full community because you don't have a good chance of getting a good run. It's not what it is for me. It's just kind of like, where's my spot in this community? Like as a newcomer, am I just going to be shelled because there's 600 other new people too, or
Mm-hmm.
that's just kind of where I sit. And it's more of an insecurity basis thing than it is like a I want to or I don't want to. Like, yeah, I'll run Battle for Bikini Bottom, but there's like 1,000 runs on there,
Mm-hmm.
if not more. I mean,
Yeah.
if you count all the category extensions and everything.
Yeah, I mean, speedrunning is definitely. I remember like, I mean, I followed the Mario Kart Wii community long before I even knew Scooby speedrunning was a thing, and I mean, that was. I mean, they were doing stuff before Discord was invented, and then if we want to talk about games like Mario 64, they used to ship, I think, VHS tapes to each other.
No way,
Like,
really?
yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard. It's either that game or Ocarina of Time, where they would mail VHS tapes to each other, and then they would play them to see like the other person's run, and then they would like use like AOL or like email, some other email or whatever, and be like, dude, that's so cool, and like, they just, it was very built on trust, and
Yeah.
just, it's really incredible just to see how, especially with Discord is just so helpful. I mean,
Imagine splicing back then.
that's just ridiculous. Oh my god.
Take a
That would
VHS
that's
tape,
like
this is the segment where I screwed up. All right, take the tape,
yeah.
flip it around. Yeah.
There we go. All right.
It's like,
Yep,
oh, did he
totally.
splice this? Looks at the tape. Yeah, he spliced it.
Yeah, he's
Like
oh my god. Cheater,
it's
pumpkin
like,
eater. It's really, but yeah, I definitely agree with, but I get the intimidation thing too. But for anybody, especially with like, not that our games, I feel like our games are a pretty, they're definitely not the biggest, but they're definitely not the smallest anymore.
I mean, we're
You
top
know,
2 now
top two
within our
Scooby,
community.
yeah, with
Yeah.
Scooby for sure. I don't really think you should, if anybody there is listening to this and really thinking about joining, like, what's it gonna hurt? At least this year for me, getting on a bit of a more IRL level, like, this is the year where I've started to just, I got an idea, let's do it. This podcast, I've been thinking about this idea for like a year, let's do it. Stream highlights, let's do it. Just why not just try and do it while if you have the time and you're like interested in like just meeting new people, trying something new, why not give it a shot? And who knows, you might like it. But I think you shouldn't just apply with like, you can apply it to bigger communities too. Like, I mean, like BFBB, there's like 1,000 people that ran that game. Why not try it out anyway? Just see what people are
Still
talking
could be
about.
top half.
Still top half. top
Maybe
top
not top 10, but you
2/3.
got top half.
Top
top
half,
300.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the way to look
exactly.
at it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if you're streaming randomly, especially with something like BFPB, like, I mean, if you go to Twitch and look at the game, I would argue that, like, the most I've ever seen people streaming that game at a time is, like, 10 or 5. Like,
Yeah.
there's
I
bound to
think
be
so.
somebody to pop in and be like, yo, what's up? And then you can talk and you can meet with them and you can chat about the game and stuff like that. And, but just apply that to, like, anything, really. Like, just, why not try and do it?
But that's probably Scooby's downfall as well. Like, if we had a more active Twitch scene, our game would probably be more popular.
Oh, 100%. But that's the thing, is it's really hard to grow in Twitch, and I've been talking a lot, especially with Nastani about it, because he's been really interested in doing YouTube content for fights as well. Is My main goal is to blow up and act like a. No, I'm just joking. My main goal is to do all this YouTube stuff, and hopefully people will grab their attention, and I want more people to watch my streams, essentially, because I think really the way to grow is through YouTube. Um, Now, granted, how many people will switch over from watching this to Twitch is like, you know, kind of skewed, but I think definitely what you post on YouTube can really make a difference. And I definitely like what I'm going to really try and do, especially over winter break, is YouTube with like project videos and then marathons, which I have personally been terrified of doing marathons. I just find it very stressful in a way, but I think that's something I kind of want to start doing now.
Let me
But
tell you, the worst you can get is doing a relief stream where nobody watches you and nobody donates. So it feels like, as much as it's like, oh, nobody watched me, nobody cares, right? Like, oh, great, I'm just streaming the stream. It's also like, they wasted their hour-long block on me. Whoops. You
oh,
know, like,
yeah, you talking about like rehydrated relief for
Rehydrated was, yeah. Um, it
yeah.
was cool. Like, I liked the experience, and the people that, some of the people that were in the community came in and like talked up a little bit. But let
Hmm.
me tell you something. I still don't have the achievement of having three congruent, speakers in my chat on Twitch. Like, I never had that. I've
Hmm.
had TV and probably like Coder at the same time, but
I mean
like,
it definitely, it gets hard to, I think a big thing about speedrunning is when people notice it, it kind of motivates you a little bit. So, when there's times that you're like, man, only like two people are watching me and they're probably bots. Like but it can get to you. So like when I stream, I don't have my view count up at all. I don't know
yeah,
what it is, but
I'm
I
too embarrassed to show it on the stream too. I know there's people that are like, "Hey, let's put the view counter on the stream," because
I don't know. Those people are crazy. Those people are
like, unless you're
confident.
Ludwig, I don't think you should even try, right? Like,
Yeah, really. It really is. And I honestly like I think if like with either of our games, like if one of us got like 100 viewers on Twitch, like that'd be fucking so crazy. Like
Hepta
it
peaked at 100, right? 120
I think so. Yeah.
when we were doing that. I
That's
think
it's
that
like
I think that was probably the entire community,
mm-hmm. That's crazy,
which is
dude.
cool. But yeah, it's like, I think all we need, and I think this is the biggest part, um, is somebody like a bigger name to be like, hey, check out this trash game. Look how fast somebody can do
Well,
it. Like
yeah, I
a
guess that would help.
like where, like, do you watch Noah J? Like, he's been reacting to
uh
speedrun stuff.
yeah, I
Like,
can look him up, but
he used to be like a COD zombies YouTuber, and now he like does that and reacts to stuff. But he's been reacting like speedrun stuff for a while now. Like, he did Batman, and then like Getting Over It or whatever.
oh yeah,
Like,
I've seen Noah J456.
yeah, like, I've considered slightly being like on Twitter, like, hey, react to this guy's speed run of this game that you've probably never heard of, and that would lead nowhere. But like, having him come in and be like, oh yeah, this is a super cool speed run, probably would get people interested.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
I
like,
think it's just there's many ways to do it, but continue. Excuse me.
um, I mean, another way for me, uh, I've been watching this YouTube channel called Mind Pulp.
I
Um,
think I've heard of them. I think I
they
actually have.
play old PS2 games, and they like make jokes about them as they play them. And they've already played Mystery Mayhem. Here's the thing,
Oh,
though.
really?
In life,
Kind of
there are
wants them to play
several
like Unmasked or Frights. And I feel like the more playthroughs, like standard playthroughs of the game there are, the better off we're gonna be. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like, I know I didn't, like, back in 2006. I didn't look up, hey, how is the speed run for this game? I watched the game. I liked it for the story, and I feel like if we're gonna grow our community, we're not gonna have to look for the nostalgia anymore. You know, the nostalgia's
Hmm.
come and pass. Everybody that is nostalgic towards these games is already here, or have no interest in speedrunning. Granted, that's false because everybody can come out of anywhere. But I feel like the main amount of people that we want to cater to is probably other speedrunners or a younger demographic. Somebody that has never experienced these games before.
Yeah, well, maybe. I think a lot of the times is maybe just removing the jargon from specific situations, because I think, I mean, if you look, I mean, with Frights, we compare it a lot to BFBB, not only because
Yeah.
they're made very similarly, but just because they sold close to identical the amount of copies of the game. And, like, Shift, the world record holder, has, I would say on average, like 300 people watching. And then I would say the next person up is like JBHJ with like 100. So I think about what you've said too, and then I also think about like, what if people are just like, what if they don't maybe want to speed run the game, but they're just curious and just to see like how far the human ability can take, a game that they've thought of nostalgically to a different level. Or with some people, it's just like seeing the game again in a different
Yeah.
way is a cool idea too. So I mean, I definitely think there's many ways to sort of grow a community, but I would probably be unsure if the only way we could possibly grow is solely through like casually playing through the game, or
I'm not saying all of us have to.
targeting.
Only some of us have to.
Oh well, no, yeah, of course, yeah.
Like
Yeah, not everybody, no.
like we don't want to overflood it, but we also, I think the last long play of this game was made 3 years ago.
I wouldn't doubt it. I think Frights was probably 2 years ago or something.
So it's like I've seen those long plays get, multiple thousands of views.
Yeah.
Is it high? Is it high views compared to, like big YouTubers? No. But that could be a couple thousand people that.
Yeah, you don't need that much. You really don't need this.
Yeah.
You don't need dream levels of like Twitch viewers where there's like 40,000 people. Like that'd be great. But like you don't need that much. Or you don't need as much as you think, I suppose.
The thing we're both at is Fights and Unmasked could both use like 5 people each. 5 people that are willing to spend, a day a week trying to find stuff. And they're going to. Like we haven't sculpted this enough so there's no material left, Like we're at a point in Unmasked where we're going down to like straight code. Like
yeah, you guys
we're almost bare bones. But I know like Heavy Iron isn't exactly the most polished company of all of them. There's always more to find.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think BFBB is pretty optimized at this point, right? Like it's been maimed.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky now that they've moved to like HDD and all this other stuff, but yeah, it's still pretty well optimized, I would argue.
I'd say Frights is getting there, but I don't know if it's done yet.
Yeah.
Like just because in Frights you can jump at walls and things just break. There could be one pixel you guys haven't jumped at yet, and whole meta's changed.
Yeah.
It's showing by NTSC Void Warp.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it gives me hope for Unmasked, but it also makes me want to focus on that more. Which is good and bad because I start like spinning about it. I'll be laying in my bed at 10 o'clock, like, what about that file? Like run over my computer.
Yeah, I've done the same thing before too. I think just an analogy that popped into my head is speedrunning a game. We all have the same things. Like it's like painting a picture. You have like your canvas, and you have all the same paints and brushes and stuff, and everybody paints something different, and sometimes out of those different, you know, paintings you find something new.
Yeah.
But there's still other people out there that can paint on the same canvas with the same tools and come out with something completely different. And I think that's definitely something that both our games are probably needing to some extent to kind of grow a little bit more and see what's possible, for sure.
The possibility of a World 3 skip and Unmasked is insane. Right? It's like, if this happens, we're probably going to be the fastest Scooby game. Well, main
Yeah.
title, not entirely janky, not on the SNES levels, you know.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're thinking like sub 12 here, you know, maybe sub 13. I can't give you the exact estimate, but we're cutting out like 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes from the overall time by not having to play Medieval and, you know, Dino and Aquarium.
Yeah.
As soon as you don't have to play those, it's basically a boss rush for any percent.
Yeah.
First boss, second boss, third boss, fourth boss, done. And then it comes to a point where it's like, all right, if I'm wasting 10 minutes per run trying to get a good boss fight, fine. But when I have to run through 3 levels of the game to get to the boss, that might just screw me over because he keeps giving me shields instead of everything else. You know, but when it's like, oh, I only have to beat these 2 bosses before I have to do this semi-difficult trick. Hopefully, it'll get there. It's like, all right, cool. It's like, well, you guys have all bosses, right? It's like basically that, except less moving around.
Yeah, you guys can just kind of go right to the end of it. Yeah.
Our game's very linear, as you guys are. It's linear, but it's not linear. Kind of a weird sort of.
Yeah, it's sort of a weird mix, but I mean, comparing our games, yours is definitely much more linear than ours, which is kind of it's kind of just like, I guess, pros and cons with sort of how you're finding glitches and routing and stuff.
You know, at one end, you guys can get from one area to another area 15 different ways.
Oh,
you know, like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
I can warp into this area, or I could roam into this exit or this entrance. You know, like there's multiple ways of breaking it. For us, we spawn in World 3, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, like we have.
You don't have as much to work with in terms
You know,
of like maneuverability.
Like with you guys, maybe nothing gets found, but you at least have 15 things to try out before you just say, there's nothing. We roll at one wall, and we're like, all right, nothing's here. Like, we're at that point where it's like, all right, well, if we can't roll through it, then it's not viable. So that's why we're kind of like, oh, can't manipulate physics and, you know, museum anymore, so let's try to break the trigger. And that's kind of where we're at right now. It's really hard. It's I think it's kind of rough on all of us because we don't really know where it's going. You know, I think that's why Unmasked has been generally quiet for the last month and a half. Like, what is it to do besides go for sub 18, which not me.
Isn't looking
not gonna be
particularly
me.
great right now. Yeah.
I think the only person going for it right now is Phantom, but she's got some stuff going on, so when she makes her return, she'll make her return and probably beat me and Sin, and then we'll let her have it, unless Sin is that dead on being first, you know? Yeah, because I'm gonna be being third. Phantom beats me, she can have it. You know, I'm good sitting right in the bronze medal territory. That's where I belong. I don't deserve with the gold, right? I'll take it. Like, if I somehow trip over the line faster than everybody else, cool with me. But yeah, it doesn't matter as much as it
used to.
Yeah, you know, like I did
Yeah,
it.
I feel
I
that.
have it. I I have that accomplishment. I haven't changed the thumbnail yet. You know, like now
Yeah.
it's like let it be how it be. Um, when I when I got world record, little segue. Um, I like ran around everywhere being like, "Oh, I'm the fastest in the world at doing something," and they're like, "What are you the fastest in the world in doing?" And I'm like, "Playing a Scooby game," and they're like, "Oh, really? How much money did you make off of that?" And you're like, "Nothing."
Nothing. Yeah.
I wasted that much time on no monetary gain, but you know what? I enjoyed the time, so
Yeah.
free entertainment, I suppose. You
Yeah.
know, it's like I don't know. I'm all set for now.
Hmm.
When something new happens, I'll jump back in. But currently, getting a time for AMT all power ups probably my first thing, and from there I'll probably figure myself out. I think school's gonna be coming up pretty soon here, pretty quick.
Hmm.
So I got to focus on that too. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm from right now. Kind of where my head's at.
Do you have any? I guess might as well segue to the end of this. Might as well, I suppose. But do you have any like, if you wanted to plug in like social media, YouTube, Twitch, any projects coming up you'd want to speak up about?
I mean, I don't know my Twitch thing. I know my Twitch thing. Twitch.tv/Emuno, Emuno. I don't stream very often, but follow me anyway because you get notified when I do. Um, my YouTube, give me one moment. I believe is also the same thing. I think if you go to, um, if you look up Emuno in YouTube, it's
It.
the Scooby covered in um, cotton candy picture. And if you don't find it, don't worry about it. Because all you got to do is jump on my Twitch channel and ask me what my YouTube is, and you'll get a link. So join my Twitch. And for Twitter, Facebook, all that type of stuff, I don't have one for you guys. So meet me over on my Twitch. Follow my Twitch. I'll talk at the same
Yeah.
time. I have
If you
achievements to make.
if you look up Emuno Scooby on YouTube, you'll find him like right away, as well.
Okay, cool.
Because I've been looking at your YouTube this whole time, just for
My
just
my
for
20 videos of
your 20
Scooby.
videos. Yep. Or it's youtube.com/ like user/CDF network, which I'm assuming is like an older username of yours.
That's a very old
Okay.
username. Yeah, very
um,
old.
but but all right. This was
Yeah,
this is the longest podcast that we've done, but I've been pretty much.
I could speak.
You can speak, but that's the point. That's the kind of the point of the podcast. It's cool to listen to a game that I haven't had. With all the other people I've talked about, I've known like a lot more. But it was fun to kind of deep dive into something I don't particularly know. This is kind of a first for me with these podcasts, which is soon going to be the norm, hopefully, as we kind of spread out from night of 100 frights at least. But yeah, thank you so much, Emuno, for being on this podcast. I'll leave links to what he just shouted out in the description, and thank you so much. Have a
Thank
nice
you,
night, guys.
and best of luck, Coley.
Yeah. Penis. All right, cool.